going to Barcelona.
Tunisia, in a stunning move, has announced its refusal to accept a crucial installment of funds from Europe to assist the nation in patrolling the Mediterranean Sea. This decision comes as migrant boat crossings in the region have reached unprecedented levels not seen in years.
Trying to do that, you're about a mile back. What the hell? Trying to dive me from like 4 or 5 attempts back. You are, what the fuck, mate? What are you doing, you prick? What a knobhead! What the fuck is he doing? Medium tyres, this car. Come on. Why? Why? Why was that? What was that for? Really? We want them drivers out of the game, so I will happily grass up the idiots on the game. If people want to be idiots, they have to face the consequences, so I have no problem at all reporting people for being dirty. I don't give a fuck, he's getting taken out of this race. Perfectly executed. He can take his P3 because, let's be honest, I'd rather have P4 and drive fair than have P3 and do that. I don't give a shit if he's an F1 driver or not. If people want to be idiots, they have to face the consequences. So I have no problem at all reporting people for being dirty. I'll take him out, fuck it. He's getting roamed to fuck. Nah, mate, that's what people do to me, so fuck you. Nah, mate, that's what people do to me, so fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
So I'd like to say thank you very much for popping in. So we'll give this tutorial a go and do a bit of the missions. I don't know. Do a little bit. Yeah, online races, man. Don't bother. What can I say? Fucking game's a piece of shit, but we need a refund. Or at least reimburse something. Either way. They're taking the mick. Right. So there'll be no commentary in this game. Or at least this one. But thank you very much for popping in. Right, let's have a look, shall we? See if this works. See if it looks good. See if we can carry on. Right, this is the game. So I cannot see them comments. I'm so sorry about that, but it's the way I'm streaming it at the moment. Like I said, if this goes off, we'll stream it properly. Other than that,
the opposite of what the masses do. The masses are sheep. When everybody buys, they buy. When everybody panics, they panic. When everybody sells, they sell. To get wealthy, you have to understand two cycles. One, feeding the sheep. And two, slaughtering the sheep. The feeding of the sheep happened from 2008 to 2022. Low interest rates encourage the sheep to take loans and buy houses. But none of these houses are paid off. So the banks recently started the cycle of slaughtering the sheep. They quickly raised interest rates. Many people can't pay the mortgage, and whoppa, the houses are gone. Look at you, inflation is high. Interest rates also high, but wages are still low, suki. The recession is made to slaughter the sheep, take their wool, take their houses, take their lives. Through easing and contracting the flow of money, the Federal Reserve banks go from feeding to slaughtering. And as long as the sheep follow, they are doomed. Do not be a sheep. Never think, act, or invest like the masses. Do the opposite, and you will be rich. Buy when the masses are selling. Sell when the masses are buying. The masses are weak, lazy, and worst of all, they trust their authorities, their governments, and their banks. Do not trust the authorities. Honor will come.
If you want to experience high speed and exhilaration in a cheap package, well, your options are pretty limited these days. But what if I told you it's possible to have a sick ride that gaps Ferraris and it costs less than your bro's laptop Civic that he won't shut up about? I'm talking about exo cars, an entire underground culture based on taking a dirt cheap crap box and tearing it down to bare metal in the name of performance. These machines are incredibly light, crazy fast, and hey, if you sell everything that you take off, you might even make some money out of it. But be warned, this ride is not for the faint of heart. Stick around till the very end of the video to learn more about some of the dangers associated with this type of build. The beginning of the exo car craze stretches all the way back to the Lotus 7. Although this little roadster might not have had the insane external frames that highlight modern exo cars, the philosophy that runs through them all was born here. Colin Chapman, the father of Lotus, built his cars with one aim in mind: simplify, then add lightness. Rather than cramming more and more horsepower into a heavy car, focusing instead on weight savings to have the same or even better results at a lower price. Over the years, this attitude has evolved into the exoskeleton builds we see today. Usually the project starts with a beat-up early 2000s sports car. Think Miata, Integra, Civic, Huracan, maybe even a spicy 240SX. The next step of the process involves a very large sawzall and possibly a few hammers. Does this part make the car move? If not, off it comes. The entire body, doors, roof, and hood included, are removed to save as much weight as possible. After that, some aluminum tubing and a sturdy roll cage are welded in place. If that sounds like a pretty simple and sketchy type of project, well, you're completely right. Exo cars can weigh over 1,000 pounds less than the stock donor car, giving them a power-to-weight ratio that rivals supercars. The most mainstream example of an exo car is obviously the Ariel Atom. I think most enthusiasts have had a similar experience with the Atom at one point or another. You wake up early to drive over to your local Cars and Coffee, and there, through the blurry haze of the rising sun, appears a wild-looking track slayer. Is it a large go-kart? Is it a roach of unusual size? Nay, it is the Ariel Atom. It's a pre-built road-legal exo car based on a custom chassis and powered by a turbocharged Honda K20. It makes 320 horsepower for the rear wheels, but nobody really cares about the power numbers. The real show-stopping stat is the 1,312-pound curb weight. That's less than your mom. This means the Atom can accelerate from 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds flat. That's nearly as fast as my motorcycle. But of course, the Atom is quite literally the top of the exo car food chain. It has the best fit and finish. It's the cost. Nearly 80 grand for a new one. It's a ridiculous car, and that's a ridiculous price. If you prefer an authentically affordable exo experience, then a company called Exo Rugged Off-Road. The construction time is usually around 100. To be honest, the Miata isn't the V8, so the possibilities are nearly endless, and get builds are welded up over the weekend by amateur enthusiasts. Some fabrication shops will offer to make you one as well. ProWorks in Alabama is responsible for some of the coolest exo cars I've seen online. I'm not sure if the garage is still in business, but their rap sheet includes the Integra-based Xtegra, this former Lexus IS350, and naturally a Miata, cleverly nicknamed the MX-05. Just because exoskeleton cars are cheap to build and pretty quick out on the streets, that doesn't mean it's the perfect affordable solution to your exotic car dreams. For starters, the weight distribution is usually imperfect. Leaving a heavy motor in the front of the vehicle with practically nothing in the back can reportedly make them feel imbalanced around corners. Not to mention the complete lack of aerodynamics that can reduce top speed significantly. There have also been, unfortunately, some tragic accidents involving poor welds and illegally registered builds. It's not a ride for the faint of heart. The culture really does feel like the closest a car guy can get to the sport bike world. But if that's exactly the type of vibe you want, well, proceed at your own risk. Thanks everyone for watching. If you could hit the subscribe button before you leave, that would really help me out. We're right around 61,000 subscribers right like to build the cheapest supercar possible. No luxuries, no safety nets, no holds barred. A 200-mile-per-hour death trap cobbled together out of hand-welded frames, salvage parts, and balls of steel. This is the question that founded Low Cost, a cult automotive philosophy with followers around the globe pursuing one single imperative: the highest speeds for the lowest cost. Low Cost itself is not a brand. They have no badge, and you can't go to a dealership and order one. The designation is a play on words, combining the phrase low cost with the name Lotus. That's because the movement was largely inspired by the Lotus 7, one of the most popular kit cars of all time. It was a lightweight and affordable race car envisioned by Colin Chapman in the 1950s, a DIY build following a long lineage of trials and victories. It embodies the idea of a car so basic that it can outrun more expensive and well-equipped exotics out of sheer lightness. That mindset, prioritizing simplicity above all else, lives on today in the low-cost movement. If Colin Chapman was the genius behind the Lotus 7, then Ron Champion was the mastermind of low cost. He created the literal blueprints for the cheap supercar philosophy, which he published in his book, Build Your Own Sports Car for as Little as £250 in 1997. Although the title was naively optimistic, perhaps a prehistoric version of clickbait, the tempting proposition made it a bestseller nonetheless. Hundreds of enthusiast builders were inspired by the 160 pages of diagrams, measurements, and detailed instructions. Here were the sacred texts that would teach you how to take a pile of scrap metal and use it to overtake the fastest track cars in the world. The success of the book ultimately led to a second edition, as well as countless internet forums, low-cost owners clubs, and club racing championships. At first, most builds were powered by the drivetrain from a Mark II Ford Escort. Champion's book recommended that as the affordable donor car to serve as a sacrificial lamb, contributing its engine, transmission, and anything else you could salvage. At the time, the Escort was easy to find in scrapyards around the country and could be picked up for less change than a share of Lordstown Motors. But the shocking popularity of the book resulted in high demand for junkyard Escorts, ultimately causing a shortage and increased prices. Not to mention that over 25 years have passed since the book was published, and the Escort is no longer the pinnacle of cheap performance. So, over the generations, builders have gotten creative with the parts they use, scrapping builds together with everything from the Honda K series to Audi's 4.2 V8. Motorcycle engines are also quite common, since they offer high-revving adrenaline in a small package. But Mazda engines seem to be the most popular, usually the V6 out of an NA Miata, or the 13D rotary from an RX-7. Both options are lightweight, affordable, and have loads of aftermarket support. Maybe you won't be able to find a junked RX-7 for under £250, but a salvage auction might yield some options under $1K. In addition to the drivetrain stolen from a junkyard donor, you'll also need a custom chassis. This is usually a 1-inch tubular steel space frame, carefully cut and measured to the exact specifications laid out in the book. The design is simple yet rigid, inspired by World War II bomber planes. There are also several variations of the design that have spawned throughout decades, such as the Ames Roadster with independent rear suspension, or the McSorley 442 that offers extra space for a larger engine. But for many builders, assembling a custom chassis demands one key skill that excludes them: welding. It's unsurprising that many amateur car builders did not want to trust their life to their own novice welding handiwork. And that is where MK Sports Cars came in. The demand for low-cost parts and pre-welded chassis has propped up an entire industry of manufacturers who will aid ambitious builders along the way. Suppliers like MK Sports Cars, Westfield, and Tiger Racing offer bits and pieces for a much lower cost than something pre-built like Caterham.
Ludopatija non dice. Let's go.
Thank you, Smurfy, babe. I appreciate you. So much fun. What a great auction. And you look amazing. Look at you, Beyonce. And make sure you guys make Smurfy. Thank you so much. Give y'all a performance. Y'all. A whole motherfucking performance. Right, Daddy? Okay, we've got 2 minutes. And then Queen Diva is up. Thank you, Michelle. Make sure you'll favour the top 3 stream. We have Evie, Go-Getter and Michelle. Hit them all with a favour, guys. Sean Boogie. How you been, Sean? Thank you, Monty. Ariel, level up! Level up, babe. Thank you. Queen Diva is up now. Make sure you get Queen Diva in a fake Queen Diva. Chloe is on 1 minute inside of money. Oh, we hot and spicy.
Niente, нормальный старт.
Why is that bad? Was it big and seeing that? Yeah. What do I do now? Salmon have a rough life. What's the dog salmon? Oh my god. What's going on with my fucking life? Why am I picking up salmon? No, I mean they make and then dry. Salmon. Why am I reading it like salmon? They make.
We're starting. In the next 5 minutes. Good God. Spoiling us, look.